Hey, welcome to another episode of Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. Want to let you know, Brad's a little bit under the weather. He'll be back next week, which next week we'll have a guest named Tom Borders. He's a son of Don Borders. He drove a monster truck called Mistress, Indianapolis, Indiana-based monster truck. You saw him on Monster Jam back in 1999. They did a cool episode at Indianapolis, but he'll be on next week. And also like to thank J Concepts. Just debuted a cool body called the West Virginia Mountaineer back in the 90s and 2000s. They're kind of bringing the late 90s monster truck out. But like I said with Brad, he's under the weather. This weekend we'll be in Colorado. Well, my team Hall Brothers Racing will be in Colorado Springs, Colorado. For 4 weekends. Whoa. 4 day show, 4 shows in 3 days. Friday, 2 Saturday, and 1 Sunday. So go take a look at that stuff. Also, want to let you guys know too. Go to our spread shop site. Crush This Monster Podcast at myspreadshop.com. T-shirts, hats, mugs, stickers, you name it. Support our podcast. Help us out. Stuff like that so we can get some cool product for you guys and go from there. Once again, we have some people going ahead. Like I said, folks, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we will try to ask as much as we can. Once again, guys, will filtered and stuff like that. But uh, like I said, guys, thank you for being on, and we will thank our sponsors going through and all that stuff. So we have Ashely Sanford. Hopefully, I can pronounce her last name right. I am terrible. I'm like 0-3 on last names. I wish people just had simple names like Ryan. No, I'm just kidding, folks. But yeah, we'll get ready to have her on and talk about her career and how she went from crazy going for 300 miles an hour to jumping about 300 feet. We'll get that ball rolling and have some fun. So thank you for watching, and let's get this ball rolling.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
A little cool intro there, huh?
I love it. I'm so hyped right now.
How are you, and how you been doing?
I am doing great. Thanks so much. I'm glad we finally got this to happen because it has been such an exciting year for me. Cheech and I have been touring the West Coast Arena Series together. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
All right, so we normally do a timeline type questionnaire and stuff like that. So, you know, where did you get your love in motorsports in general? You are in a very particular spot in the United States, and
Yeah.
two of those areas is considered to be drag racing and off-road racing, and you're kind of dabbling with both. But before you went to monster trucks, you did a lot. Actually, let me rephrase that. You not just did, we will go back a little bit because you kind of went from off road to asphalt then back to off-road.
I've
So
gone back to my roots. Yeah.
yeah, so let's talk about that. Like, um, let's go back and was your family always been the motorsports in general? How did you get into
Yeah.
engines and stuff like that?
Oh, I'm so happy. I love telling this story because it really is just I'm just so passionate about it because it's just really who I am. Because I grew up with my dad and my grandpa who were equally as just impressed with motorsports and just always interested. And we all have that need for speed, true adrenaline junkies. And we truly say it is in that Sanford blood, which you said correct, by the way. Wanted to mention that. And yes, good job. Yeah, no, I am so fortunate from for truly the time I can remember, I was encouraged to just chase that need for speed. On my very first Christmas, when it's even 1 years old, my dad got me this electric ATV that was for 5-year-olds. And so I have photos of me on that. I actually had a black eye because I was playing too rough with my dog or something like that. So let's just say from the very beginning, I was built for this lifestyle, I think. And my dad actually grew his love through my grandpa, who grew his love through his father, who went to the very first Winter Nationals in Pomona, California. So I like to say it was great grandpa Ed, great grandpa Fred, technically. He was the one who truly kind of started it all for us because he started off just truly being an enthusiast. He was a fan. And it got my grandpa into getting his first go-kart, which that's one thing I haven't dabbled in yet, but it's still in the wheelhouse, which then got my dad into it. And they, about when I was just about actually 1-2 years old, bought property out in Ocotillo Wells, California. Kind of rewinding back to what you said, I am currently in Huntington Beach, California, but have lived in Orange County, California my whole life. So as you said, kind of just really located central to so many kinds of motorsports, especially drag racing and off-roading. And so, yeah, from the time I could remember, we were going out off-roading in the deserts of California, just things that my dad and my grandpa truly just threw together with junkyard parts and buggies and, bugs, Herbies. It was all kinds of fun stuff, four-wheelers. And they fell into a sand drag race. Truly, it was just going on, just some random fun event. And my dad just had his dune buggy and was out there and just got hooked. And from there, we kind of say, the rest was history as far as our sand drag racing career went for our family. Because at that moment, my dad had a lot of close friends, including my grandpa and my uncle. Very much a big family affair with friends included, where they started Team Frederosa, Team Extreme. And I was, about 8 years old when I actually got to compete for my very first time at the sand drags. And actually right behind me, this is my very first trophy I got in the sand drags. It was just on an ATV, but it was just, at that moment, I was like, wow, like this is the coolest thing ever. Like I couldn't imagine getting to do any other kind of hobby. Whereas, I'd go home and I have other friends who are like, oh yeah, I had a soccer game this weekend, or, so opposite of what I was doing. But I really didn't know any different because my dad just was the coolest person ever because of what he was doing. And so at that point, my grandpa was actually racing as well. And so they went on together to get a dragster, got a top dragster, competed it in top eliminator. And, at that point, they were like so into the rails. And my dad was like, okay, we got to get bigger. And so I was probably about 14 years old when my dad got a blown alcohol sand dragster. And it was, I thought my dad was cool before, but now I was like, oh my gosh, my dad's like John Force. This is crazy. Even though it was completely opposite, I just looked at him at that level of like, wow, this is awesome. And so at 16, only a couple years later, after I had just still been competing and just on quads, that's all I was racing. And I got to race my grandpa's super comp dragster. We put it in the super comp class. the top dragster. Did that once, but I was just like, man, I really want to go as fast as my dad. Like, oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. And so at 16 years old, when I got my California driver's license, I got to race in my dad's blown alcohol dragster, and my life was forever changed. So in 300 feet of dirt, I was going about 155 miles per hour. So again, not the average 16-year-old activity, especially in Southern California, where I was from. As big as it is, like in today's day and age, it just isn't as big as it used to be. So I was definitely the different person at school, but I just loved it so much and truly have some of my favorite memories at the sand drags growing up. It was in Southern California, Arizona, Nevada. We went all over the place with my family. And, my dad excelled. He did really well when he competed in blown alcohol. They got a few back-to-back championships, and it was just a really exciting time. And I just was so hooked with that lifestyle that by the time I was graduating high school, I just knew I had to find a way in it, like in the big industry of motorsports. Because sand drags, as fun as it was, I mean, it was such a niche little part of the motorsports community. And I knew, if I wanted to make a career, I'd have to take a step up. And so had a serious sit down conversation with my dad saying, hey, I know you want me to go to college and that's supposed to be the right next step, but I am just being called to drag racing. And I think we could go to the NHRA and transfer this team we've created in the sand and take it to drag racing for real, like what we've grown up watching. Because where we lived, we were about 30 minutes from Pomona drag strip. So I grew up going to the Winter Nationals and the finals as a fan, but that was just so unattainable to really hit the drag strip and go NHRA racing. That was like, whoa, that's crazy. And after expressing this to my dad, he's just as crazy as I am, clearly, and was like, let's do it. But first things first, we need sponsorship because we can't afford this. So if you can dedicate yourself to creating sponsorship decks, going out there, finding the funding, then I will sell the sand stuff to help, cut whatever costs we need to do this, because really it was going to be a dream come true for all of us. My dad and my grandpa as well, who were still involved, had always wanted to go to the NHRA. So for everyone all together, it was going to be a big deal. And with that, I was able to accomplish getting my very first big sponsor, which was Gelish nail polish. And it's just so fitting for who I am, because as much as I can be a tomboy, adrenaline junkie, I am very much a girly girl too. And so debuted at the ripe age of 19 years old in Vegas in top alcohol dragster. It was so crazy to look back on, because people are like, this girl has never been down a drag strip before. Like, how are you trusting her? And oh my gosh, so many people said, you are insane. You can't just start here. And we did it. And I had the most incredible time doing that stint we did with the A Fuel car. And it was all family. And, we never got to win an event. We really struggled going from blown alcohol to A Fuel nitro injected. There were so many learning curves. And we were self-taught at the time, dad, crew chief from the sand to asphalt. We were just, it was a lot, but I think we accomplished a lot. And the biggest thing of what I was trying to accomplish was to just, get myself out there, to network myself out there, to hopefully pick up an opportunity to what the ultimate dream was, Top Fuel. And so at my whole A Fuel career was gearing towards that. I was constantly going from sponsorship meeting. I can't even tell you how many times I have been to meetings and been shot down, and just that whole vicious cycle, until finally it all came together in 2017. And I debuted in Top Fuel at the Indy US Nationals, the Big Go. And for those who know drag racing, it was a big deal. Very, very big deal. And pressure was on. I was only able to accumulate enough sponsorship to get my license and do one event. So this was like my one big shot to, put myself on a platform to hopefully be seen and recognized as someone who is so passionate about racing, motorsports, drag racing, and the love for it. And I love to do it. And give me a shot, because that's what I was trying to do. And hey, it was an incredible weekend. I, ran my best times ever that weekend, actually. My best ET was a 377, and I've been 323 miles per hour. It was one of those things that to this day I don't think will ever be topped, of true, just euphoric adrenaline feelings. Just the whole weekend of overall getting to, just accomplish such a dream that I had since I was a little girl, have my family be there. And I mean, truly just hit those speeds and have that adrenaline go through you. It was an amazing weekend. And yeah, it kicked off my Top Fuel career, because after that, I was connected with the Rapisardas, the incredible family I got to spend a lot of time with in Australia, and raced with them for just about 3 years in the States and overseas. And so I was living the life as far as Top Fuel went. I was having so much fun, but also there was just such a big part that was like, it was so stressful. It was so hard. And I still was struggling to try and find sponsorship to be full-time in the States, because the Rapisardas, they were hobbyists in the way of that drag racing was their passion, and they have an incredible construction crane business that is able to sponsor themselves and do that. But yeah, I know they ran a full-time business. They didn't have the time to go out to the States and do a full season with NHRA, and that's what I was trying to do. And just the way times were going was so tough. I started shopping around in other motorsports. And this was probably about 2017 too, actually, the time I became a Top Fuel driver. I just knew, I was like, I'm so interested in so many other motorsports, including Monster Jam, monster trucks. I was just like, how do I get started though? Like, I've only known sand drag racing, and I've only known drag racing. Like, who do I reach out to? Who do I get started with? And I actually reached out to good old Becca McDonough, or redhead El Toro Loco. I was obsessed with her. I was a big fan of her.
Oh.
And yep, she was the first one I reached out to. So mid me doing Top Fuel racing, I was already planting the seed with Monster Jam. And so those two stories, I mean, they kind of were like colliding at a point. And it was actually December 2019. I was gearing up, actually getting ready to go back to Australia. I made a quick flight out to Florida for my very first audition with Monster Jam. And it was so cool. I got to do it with John Zimmer. And I just remember being like amazed. Like, I got the tour of the property and was like, oh my gosh, this is a city. This isn't a company. Holy moly. And so we did the tour, did some interviews, some mock interviews, as well as then we got to go out to the property just not too far away, where we got to drive the trucks. And I did figure eights, and I did a pee-wee jump that felt like I went 30 feet in the air. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And they're like, you've been in a Top Fuel dragster. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, this is so fun. And I was instantly in love with it. But as quick as that happened, 2020 approached, and March 2020, I think we can all remember the world kind of shutting down. And at that point, both my drag racing and monster truck careers felt like they had just disappeared. And I was, like so many others, just so pretty much lost and confused of like, okay, well, what's next? And it took time once again. And I actually went and got my EMT license, thought I was going to, work a career in that field, because I have always been someone who truly just enjoys giving back and finding ways to, fulfill that, as far as like I'm a giver. And so I just knew, I was like, okay, if I'm not doing something I'm totally passionate about, I need to be helping someone in some way. And it was really rewarding, but I just still knew, I'm like, this isn't the path for me. I need to get back in motorsports. We're going to find a way. And I had, reached out to Monster Jam. I had reached out to Keith Speller, just kind of still putting the bug in his ear of like, hey, if anything comes up, if anything changes, I'm here. And it paid off because I got the call. It's been a year now. It was last summer, just the beginning of last summer. And I'll never forget it. I was just cleaning up my house. I had just gone off a shift. I was working in a mental health office, actually. And I was exhausted. And Keith Speller was like, hey, I know it's been some time, but are you interested in re-auditioning? And I was just like, absolutely. You're saving my life right now. I'm like, get me back behind the wheel, please. And it just like that, the process began again, and got to go out and audition. And this time around, it was definitely a lot more intense. It was really exciting though. And so spent a whole day in Florida just doing interview auditions, going from pretending to having to just like won an event to, going to a morning media where you're going to be with a, TV news crew. And that was exciting. And there was how many of us? I think there was a dozen of us there. And I just remember being in the room with some really incredible people thinking, oh my gosh, there's no way they're going to pick me. Like, oh my gosh, like I haven't been in this in a couple of years. And you know what an incredible experience. I'm grateful for it. We'll see what happens. And got the call to go back, and this time go to Paxton, oh my gosh, wow. Getting to go there for the first time and do the audition out there in the truck, which would be now my second audition in the truck, but felt like it was all brand new again. And once again, it got down to about 6 of us. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, there's no way, like, this is an amazing opportunity, but how am I going to be able to like get, move on to this next round, so to speak. And so got the call again. And to my, delight, my surprise, I was so stoked that they invited me to go to Monster Jam University officially and spend 3 weeks out there, which was a total of, we ended up doing, I want to say it was like 15 days of training between getting to be in a truck and getting to be in the classroom with the one and only Tom Mentz. And wow, that was the best summer camp I have ever been to and will ever go to, because did I learn so much, have so much fun. And it was hard. Oh my gosh. Going from drag racing to monster trucks, talk about a world of a difference in driving and everything. I mean, it was absolutely, flipping my world upside down, but I was up for the challenge and I was really excited for it. And after that point, we had finished that up about September, didn't know what was going to happen, and had known that there was maybe a seat or two available. And I was, oh my gosh, it was a painful couple months. Let me tell you, not knowing what was going to happen, because after Monster Jam University, I just was so in love, and I was going to be so heartbroken if it didn't work out. I just was like, sending out all the prayers. And right before Summit with Monster Jam, they gave me the call and said, all right, Ashely, Keith asked me. And I think it's so cute. Like, it's so cool that he actually just asked me, Ashely, would you like to drive for Monster Jam? And would you like to drive Megalodon? It's like, you don't even have to ask. You really don't. And I was, definitely had a moment where I had to like collect myself, because I was just so off the walls excited. And that happened in late November of 2022. got to go to Summit weeks later, had my very first event in Spokane in December, and then got to kick off, first quarter with you in Salt Lake and with Arena Series West. And now here we are. I've been a Monster Jam driver for, going on almost 5 months now. And it has been the most incredible year. And I've been having a blast. And I love being in the truck, and I love continuing to learn in the truck and get more comfortable. And I'm just so excited to see what keeps coming.
Man, that's a good storyline right there. A good timeline.
The whole timeline. I told you I'm excited. I'm like, I can tell this story, no problem.
Right on. We got a few more questions here. Want to thank our sponsors that has helped us out here. JB Skill Graphics. Go take a look at their stuff. Officially licensed by Bigfoot, Overkill, Bad Habit, much more. They get flags, stuff like that. So be on the lookout also with the cool snake bite mock-up and stuff like that. Go take a look at JB Skills Graphics. Justin Stories in a book called Making Tracks. It's a comic book right here. The light's showing on it, but it's a cool comic book, a cool kid comic book. Message Justin Stories or go on Amazon.com. $10 a pop. Cool stuff. And Brad always says the audio thing, but I always know that I always forget about that also. We got a couple of one fan question for you before I actually get to another question for you also. And it's the wonderful Josh Yoho.
I was like, wait a second. Oh, Yoho. I miss you.
He goes, who has been your biggest inspiration in Monster Jam while training?
Well, it's you, Yoho, and I miss you because, wow, I mean, you really were like between Chelsea and I, Chelsea Van Cleve, I went through the whole process with. She's kind of like my Monster Jam sister. We got to go through this whole process together. We looked up to Yoho so much, and we looked up to him for his guidance and his support. And I mean, even when he was messing around with us, we loved it so much. We felt right at home with him. And no, seriously, I miss you, and I appreciate being able to have gone through this journey with you. And I hope you're doing good, Yoho. I can't wait to get your shirt. But awesome. Shout out, if you guys want to get some shirts to support Yoho, he is currently in a fight right now, and I know he's gonna kick it. I can't say any bad words, but we know what I'm trying to say. He is gonna kick it, and head over to his Instagram and support him too. That'd be awesome.
So we're gonna go back here and kind of a little bit of a tech question, because you said you went from alcohol, sand drags to like alcohol, the alcohol and asphalt.
Yeah.
Now, does sand drags have the same type of you can be loose or some tire shaking? When you're down both compared to the both, what is the flaws that you got from sand drags that was kind of different than on asphalt?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, actually that you touch on that, it was kind of the fact that in sand drag racing, I mean, you were looking out for the ruts. It was shaking the whole time down, but you were just looking out for the specific grooves in the track to make sure you weren't going to get thrown completely out. And it was such a short distance to only being 300 feet. It was truly at that point like you're driving at the seat of your pants. And so that was sand drag racing, and it transferred over so well for me though for asphalt, because I had been so used to anticipating feelings and, knowing how to react to certain feelings, that by the time I got to asphalt, I was like, whoa, this is so smooth. And whenever something wasn't right, I was able to catch it. And, whether it was tire shake or smoke, having to pedal it or, calm it down, get on the brakes a little bit and then pedal it, or sometimes you just lost a run. But it helped me. It did help me, but it was just insanely different sensations of driving. It was.
That gotta be also helping you out with training on the light too, because the Christmas tree, every redneck's favorite Christmas tree. That helps you out too. And we have another question. We got a few questions, actually, they're decent. from fans. Brandon looks like Sim asked about what has been your favorite venue you went to this year. I think probably the one that you won the your donut was a pretty good venue, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, okay, that was absolutely incredible just because that was such a what a great feeling to finally get that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, in Topeka. Good old Topeka, Kansas. I am just gonna, expose myself right now. I'm sorry for calling you guys Kansas City. It was a mistake. I was just so excited, but it was Topeka, Kansas. And yeah, gosh, I had been struggling with donuts, and I had a coming to Jesus talk with good old Bailey Shea and one and only Kristen Anderson, who are like, girlfriend, like, what have you, like, how have you been setting it up? And I told them what I've been doing, and they're like, nope, we're trying this, tried that, and have gotten it every time since. So they saved the day, and it was just crazy the timing of that. Truly, like 15 minutes before that happened, that was the talk we had, and then I went out and won. So girl power was so real, was so strong. That was incredible. But I do have to say, I think my favorite venue was Tacoma
Oh,
because
okay.
that floor was so fun. Like, I wish I could have that floor like this upcoming weekend, because who I was as a driver then to who I am now, I feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't even get to utilize it the way I feel like I would be doing now. But it was just so exciting to get that little taste of what a big floor could be like, and get some major air. It was a lot of fun.
Well, not once but twice. Don't forget we got Fargo. We had
Yep. And
Fargo
then we
also.
Fargo too. Yep.
That was a big old stadium too, which was pretty
Yeah.
crazy. So I'm gonna go back to another. I'll pick on through here, and I heard stories, and I heard that a lot from different people, and I wanted to pick your brain here. Getting your top fuel license.
Mm-hmm.
It seems people just think that if you have the big bucks, like people nag on Matt Hagan, or people that you kind of had uh some major money backing, that they just think that they have money and they can go and run Tony
Yeah.
Schumacher type racing. It's not like that.
No.
There's a lot of people that are trying to get sponsorships. Like, people not understand that in the NHRA, what runs a team is sponsorship.
Yep.
What drives the drivers to do what their thing is sponsorship. They bring in whatever the help that I think there isn't really a driver I can think of that had came to driving a car as talent. They always have to bring something. Like you said, you had to get your
You're
sponsorship
hitting
to
it
bring
right
everything.
on. Yep.
But the difficult time is that license, because it's not an easy task. Can you describe what it's like getting a top fuel license?
Yeah, no, it actually, you're so right. Cause I mean, especially in my situation where I knew I had a certain budget that I had received from a sponsor, I was like, okay. And, we rented this ride as, how we describe what we do to, independent drivers who aren't connected to a team. And I got to do that with Dom Lagana and his brother Bob, who are, oh my gosh, I miss them. Amazing, amazing people in drag racing, the Lagana family. They let me rent the ride with them. And so, which I mean, compared to other costs and options, they were definitely on the affordable side, because we, just were very connected. We, both family passionate kind of people. We're like, we're going to help you out. We're going to do this at, minimum cost for us to get this to happen, which was about it's a lot. It was about, what was it? I think, yeah. I mean, I'm going to just tell you guys, it was $60,000 to get my top fuel license. That
How
is
much again?
$60,000.
Not 16, 60,
Zero,
comma,
guys.
000.
Money that I don't have, that my family does, like, this was sponsorship money that, we, had to rely on to make this dream come true for me. And with that being said, any more runs cost more money. So the pressure is on to get this done when you need to get it done. And we actually did have to go over budget because it was supposed to be 50, but we had really bad weather conditions the day I went to get my top fuel license in Vegas. So, yep, rewinding to the very beginning. So
That's
you
one of the worst tracks to do it at is Vegas.
I know, look at us. We just really wanted to push it against ourselves. But the winds, there's at the top end, there used to be, I'm not sure if it's still up there. There was a little rut that would
Because
like
it's like
throw
a
you
bowl.
sideways.
It's a bowl, so the
Yeah.
wind can go any direction
Oh,
it
the wind
wants.
was so bad that day. There's photos and it's just like my hair is crazy. Like it was crazy. But also it still was an incredible day. So you have to make a total of 6 passes in the car. You have to do 2 pretty much, just burp of the throttles. Like I wanted to say, like I truly don't remember, but like maybe it was a 60 or 100 foot, then 2 half tracks, and 2 full pulls. And again, I don't remember the exact, but they have to meet a certain ET and a certain mile per hour for the full pulls. And so, yeah, pressure's on to get each single one. So, first 4 go fabulous, pretty much from my recollection. And, it was exciting, the build up. We're getting there. But the wind starts picking up and it was just I don't even remember how bad it was, but it was bad. And they're like already kind of pre-planning, like, okay, if we're not finishing today, where can we go next? And we had already realized we're like, okay,
Oh,
well,
it's not there in Vegas all the time. You have to travel.
so yeah, because the
Oh, okay.
dragster was in Vegas that weekend competing, and so Dom was going to be competing at the next event was North Carolina, was Charlotte, and so they're like, okay, if we can't finish it here, we're going to Charlotte next. We could do the Monday testing there and finish it there. Like that was already kind of a thing because we're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I did get to have the 2 passes, but one of them did not meet. I forget if it was the ET or the mile per hour criteria. It was so close, but I had just let off early because of the wind, and I was new to Top Fuel. I was just, it was a lot to hold on to. Truly, going from A Fuel to that, it was, man, it was a punch in the gut. And so wheeling 300 plus miles per hour for the very first time in high wind conditions in Las Vegas was a challenge that I unfortunately didn't get to complete, but got very close to. And it's okay though, because getting my license in Charlotte was actually more rewarding, because at this point we knew like this was my last shot. Like budget wise, if we want to do Indy and make that happen, like this is it. We got to make this happen. So I felt like Eminem and Lose Yourself. I'm like, this is my only shot. Oh my God. Like the pressure, the stress. I grew gray hairs going into that day, but I did it. And man, we had, oh gosh, what was that? I think I ran a 388. Like it was a really solid run. And it was just a really happy day because then I got my 2 signatures. You have to get your 2 signatures from licensed Top Fuel drivers who were witnesses and sign off on it. And that was Dom Lagana and Scott Palmer. So it was just a really happy day. And that was pretty much the whole process of getting that Top Fuel license.
Stressful, I tell you
So
that much.
stressful, so stressful, but rewarding, but so stressful. It's like just getting your license is like making the dream come true of going Top Fuel racing, because just getting through that.
So, one before we continue on, want to thank Mark Iron, the announcer, for plenty of monster truck stuff. Go take a look at his Facebook page, and oh my, I drooled. I'm sorry. And also Hall Brothers Racing. They're the ones that actually produce these, our decals. Also, aka Decals. And that's up in Canada. Go take a look at that. Go take a look at the team if you're over there in Colorado Springs. We're about to start our dealership season here too soon. So go to the Hall Brothers Raminator.com. Take a look at that stuff too. We got another fan question, so I'm kind of jumping back and forth here for you. That's my good buddy Kevin Wilkie. I know him very hard and saw my brother there. Good friend. He said, what do you feel is your strongest and weakest area driving in a monster truck?"
Yeah, that's a great question. We'll start with strongest. I'd say, and maybe these aren't exactly the way you're expecting them to be answered, but it does translate into my driving. My strongest area is, I'd say, my fearlessness. I am just so excited to be in this truck. And, you know, as much as I feel like I've been conserving a lot just because I have been very much driving cautiously, which I still translate to my drag racing days because I'm like, let's not break things, let's not hit buildings, let's, keep it there. But I know that, when the opportunities present themselves, I'm a go for it girl. And so that's definitely what's helped push me to grow as much as I have. And I still have a very long way to go and a lot to learn still. But I've just been trying to find that balance. And I think that's where I've been strong, is that I've been, pushing it in the increments and, finding, my way as in a very, I would say, controlled manner. And I've been very happy with that because I don't want to put any extra work on the technicians, and I don't want to go out there and pretend to be something I'm not. And I am a very humble person as far as knowing that these trucks are beasts. They are so much to handle. And, the people I'm just thinking of Tristan England because he's on my tour. He is a master of two-wheel skills, but it has taken him so much time. And I'd say that's where my weakest area is my inexperience. I have, I feel like I call myself the baby shark. I am so little as far as, just seat time and learning. And, each event is a learning opportunity and it's practice for me in that way. And so just overall, my weakest area, is just that I, don't have the experience some of these other drivers do, but I also am trying to utilize it the best I can. And each time I'm out there, give it a little bit of this or give it a little bit of that. And I think I'm really happy with my progress. Of course, I want to be setting the world on fire one day, and I hope that happens. But no, I'm really happy with where I've gone so far. And I want to keep pushing it, but I also want to make sure everyone's happy as well and, keep everything together the best I can. So that's my answer.
Man, that's a good answer. Yeah, good job on that. Good job. But so for me, I want to kind of know about this because you went from two different extremes. I think who else? Bryce Kenny, a couple others. You go from a car that's low to the ground really, really fast, and now you're up to a truck that's about 10 feet high. But for how big it is, the acceleration and the height compared to the speed of the ground makes it feel like it's going really, really fast. So I'm gonna pick your head on here being a driver and stuff like that. Wha- Compared to going down the straightaway, it's two different sides of the coin. You're
Yeah.
going down a straightaway that's, I don't know how wide. You got a wall, and then you got another driver, and you got a car going 300 miles an hour. Now you got a arena that's not. See, another difference is when you're racing in drag racing, they have a home built a track for that car. They go around the country.
Yeah.
Now you're doing a show where we are renting a building that's a home for a hockey team, a
Yeah.
basketball team, some other type of venue, stuff like that, a rodeo, bull ring, let's just say. And you're driving a truck that they want you to go, momentum, make the truck look like it's going fast, and then it's kind of being like a little bit of a magician because you have to kind
Yeah.
of go on that ragged edge. So what
Yeah.
is more to you intense, going in a small cabin with like everything going by, or trying to handle a 10,000-pound bull and running around 60 seconds when you see fans around
Yeah.
and you're trying to get used to the acceleration of a big truck? There's a lot of information there, but I'm
No,
trying to.
you described it so perfectly though. That was, yeah, no, that was beautiful.
Well,
um,
thank you.
but no, a year, and I've touched on this before, and it's crazy because they both truly are so much fun. For me personally, I am having such a blast, and I had such a blast in drag racing. But like as far as intensity goes, I do have to give it to a top fuel dragster. There is just absolutely nothing like that G-force pull, and it is something I miss and I hope to get back to maybe one day. But the thing is you're so right, because it's not that it's not intense in a monster truck. It's not that at all. It's just the levels of intensity I think are
I
different.
mean, sorry, one second. There's different. Also, when you said about the G forces in the NHRA car, like you said, you're pushed back, but also when you slow down,
It's
it
greater.
it, it it's
Yeah.
it hurts your body that way. But
Yeah.
then in a monster truck, you're in a car crash every single show,
Yeah.
so your body got to be taking a abuse.
Yeah, my chiropractor hates me, but no, seriously though, and I just say like it's just the levels of intensity are different. Because for me, drag racing, I mean, physically, I'd say monster trucks are more intense, definitely. But I just say overall, especially like the mental game of drag racing, it's more intense. Because you are cramming everything into 3 seconds, and you have to pretty much get your subconscious to do all the work for you. Because what I say is, and I mean it's the same thing with monster trucks, I'd say it's the same thing in most motorsports. The second you're thinking, you're a second behind. And in drag racing, I didn't have a lot of time. You only had a few seconds. Whereas I mean, it's the same thing though. In Monster Jam with monster trucks, it really is, because if you're a thought behind, you're a thought behind the truck. You're a second behind the truck, and you always have to try and be ahead of it, and that'll show. So, but like I said, I mean, it's just been such a blast for me. And I've said this though, when it comes to, yes, drag racing is more intense, but like as far as being behind the wheel, like I have been possibly having more fun in the monster truck. I'm not even kidding, because it's just getting to be so free in that sense of just going with the flow of where the truck wants to take you, rather than being stuck down the one course. And for that reason, like the off-roader in me has just been a little kid in a candy shop in this monster truck.
Now, also, I also have to thank 6B Apparel. They help us out. We have, wait a minute, crew shirts. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, it's on the other end. I can't. Crew shirts. It's upside down.
There
Sorry,
it
Chris.
is.
There it is. Crew shirts. Also, we got hoodies too. I know you saw some of those too, from Keaton and uh,
Yeah.
Bailey. But they're $100 pop if any fans are interested in some 6B apparel. Also, let's see here. I think Bradley Shaw Designs. Go take a look at his stuff. He just did an awesome 30th anniversary for the Monster Patrol for Triple B Motorsports. So good, take a look at that stuff too. Man, once again, we see if anyone else has any questions. They're just all saying thank you. Andrew Harris, he was at Austin last weekend. He said hi.
Hey,
Um,
Andrew.
and so you come around, and like you said, there's a difference between the two and stuff like that. Now you said you idolized Becky McDonough, and you saw, and she was at the event in Sacramento. Outside of that, was there, because you're kind of in two professional industries that have embraced the female world.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a male or female, the person's under the helmet, you're gonna race them the way you're gonna race them. Was there people, so when you're in drag racing, did you follow like Shirley Modani, Courtney Force, Ashley Force? Who was some of your idols on that one? And then when you got a chance to meet Becky, did you pick her brain a little bit in the monster truck side of it?
Yeah, no, I mean, you pretty much said them all. I mean, every female drag racer was my influence, absolutely. from the legend herself, Shirley Cha-Cha, to the Force family. My family even watched the reality show on them for a while. I thought they were the coolest people ever. And then once I got involved in drag racing, I really looked up to Alexis DeJoria. She just we were very like-minded in the sense of, we were very passionate. She is a rocker chick, and I just thought she was so cool. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be like Alexis DeJoria.
And she is a rocker if she's dating Jesse James.
I know, yeah, but so I had so much influence, and it was also, it just showed to me that it's possible. And even though I may not I'm not a Force and I'm not a DeJoria, but there's space for women here. And, all you have to do is believe in yourself and get it done. And I did. And then, it's same with Monster Jam though. And so that was where I felt that same sense of like possibility, that these two entities give to the female drivers. And so, I mean, gosh, from the very first time I reached out to Becky, she has been incredible to me. I mean, I've been picking her brain for years. And so even when I got invited back to do my second audition and go through all that, I had reached out to her again and kept her in the loop and let her know what was going on. And then getting to see her in Sacramento, it was so exciting because she, just what an incredible person all around, a hard worker, and has accomplished so much, and just a really, really cool person as well that I just look up to. And so getting to have her support was awesome. And yeah, I love the women empowerment in the two sports, and I'm so grateful for that. And I hope that, so many other little girls out there can see that. And whether it be motorsports or be something else, just know that there are space for girls and women in male dominated industries, and it's possible. Because yeah, what a cool thing to be a part of.
Now, I'm kind of curious too. Here, what made your business decision pick Top Fuel over Funny Car, Pro Stock? Because there was a lot of Funny Car is just as fast, or maybe sometimes faster than a Top Fuel,
Yeah.
and Alexis was part of that. Erica was in Pro Stock, and the Pro Stock seems like a lot of timing. A lot of perfectly timing shift points,
Mhm.
getting the car that they're basically milliseconds between a win and a loss.
Yeah.
What got you to not maybe go into those directions? And also Pro Mod. I think Pro Mod's always been a good form
Yeah.
of racing also. So what got you focused on Top Fuel compared to going like the Funny Car or Top or Pro Stock?
It was my dad. I mean, it goes back to being that little girl and seeing my dad in that blown alcohol car, and just, to me, that was the goal. It was over then. It really was. At that moment, I just knew I was gonna get in a Top Fuel car.
Okay. I was just curious about that because I,
Yeah.
I, I got a feeling if someone told you to drive a Funny Car, I think you would take that also, or a Pro
Oh, no,
Stock
I
also.
had said, and I mean, to this day, if a Funny Car opportunity came up, I would absolutely, I mean, any of those opportunities came up, I would be jumping on it. But yeah, Funny Cars especially was, they're so cool, of course.
And
But
then
my heart led me to dragsters, and that's where it took me.
And another thing that we can compare the two that is actually compatible, fan interaction.
Yeah.
I've been to plenty of NHR events, and the pit access. There was one time I have to tell you a story. I was walking around. I was at the Force camp,
Uh-huh.
and I was just walking, seeing the guys
Mhm.
and change the engine. Doing their normal normal hour and 30 minutes setup before getting onto the line. And I'm just, I'm looking at Courtney Force's car because not a lot of people were there. It was just, not a lot of people were at the pits anyway, but it was the first one. I'm like looking around and I hear, "Hey," I'm like, "What?" Like, hey, how's it going? It was her, Courtney Force, and she's like, "What's going on?" She just came up to me. We started talking, and she's like, "Grab one of those hero cards." Okay, took it, and then she's like, "You want a picture?" I was like, "You're asking me for a picture? I'm not that popular." And she just laughed. And and the interaction though, they came to you. And that's the same thing with the monster truck side of it is, you
Yeah.
have the pit parties and stuff like that, but you have your time saying hey to the fans on this podcast, stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
um, the fan interaction, talk about that.
No, it's so crazy because I truly, this is all like the stem of wanting to drive, of who I was. And then when I entered this world, realizing, whoa, there's a platform. Like, wait a second. People are going to look up to you in that sense. And it hit me at the very first event when someone came up and asked for my autograph. I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. Like, this is a big part of it. And so at that moment, I did not take it lightly. And I realized, okay, who did you look up to? How did certain people treat you? And how did you leave feeling after you got an autographs with certain people? And I just remember that the people who took the time and, really, saw me were the people who inspired me to be where I am. And so I was like, wow, okay, this is awesome. Now I get to return that love. Like, I was like, this is like, I thought I just got to drive. This is going to be awesome. And so from drag racing to Monster Jam, the fan interactions are so amazing. I mean, these people, and I understand it because I'm a fan myself. They truly love and respect these motorsports so much. And they get so excited to see the drivers, especially the kids. And to me, the kids are everything. I love getting to, be that person to, help brighten up their day possibly, or inspire them to, do something new and exciting, or just chase their dreams in that way. And so for me, getting to, start with Monster Jam and not just be in a truck, but be in Megalodon, which is such a crowd favorite and kids go crazy for. Again, shark attack, my matching nails. I don't take it lightly, and I love this opportunity, and I love getting to have the interaction with all the fans because I appreciate and respect them, because I understand. I am one too. I really get it. And yeah, no, I like getting to share that passion with fans is what it's all about. Share the love.
Yeah, share the positivity and
All
share
that.
what's going on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My last question, talk about this year. Talk about the group that you're with. Talk about this West Coast tour, the trials, the testing. Could you have picked any other group to be with?
No. Oh my gosh. I am already missing everyone and the tour is not even over yet. I,
Because this is my last weekend, so
you're not going to Pensacola?
no, I'll be taking the second Raminator truck, and I'll be in Enid, Oklahoma, and then St. Clairsville, Ohio, for a homecoming for myself. So
Well, now I'm just sad again.
I'm
Oh my
sorry.
gosh. You're breaking it to me right now. Yeah, no, it really has been wow from everyone. It's just been such a rewarding experience getting to know everyone and grow with everyone, because truly for myself, this year has been so far just so much growth. And so getting to share that with yourself and everyone who has just been so supportive, like beyond supportive. It's like we created this little family, and I'm so grateful to each and every single person. And I just know like these are the kinds of relationships that don't just go away though, and I am so excited about that we all created these bonds that, years down the road, whatever, we'll be picking up right where we left off. And that makes me so excited.
And the with Yoho, Get Better Buddy,
Yes.
that stuff. They had to basically do musical True Chiefs because they got you had starting with Dustin. Then
Yeah.
Dustin had to go to Team Gravedigger because of Yoho, and then you got picked up Tyler. And
Yeah.
now, I mean, you also have Howie helping out and stuff like that. All sorts of, you have the veteran people like, Kristen and Bailey, the Mark.
Yeah.
Then, you have Too Tall and then Kurt. It's a little
Yeah.
nice little pot of all these drivers that
Exactly. I've learned from everyone, from every single person. Yep.
yeah, it's awesome to see. And also when you talked about fan interaction too, is it mind-blowing to see your fans, in the truck compared, I mean, when you're in the NHRA car or a Top Fuel, you
Yeah.
see the fans sitting there. I mean, you meet them, but when you're in the line and you're seeing the fans, you only have a few seconds before you're going bike.
No,
But
it's
with
true though. Yeah.
Monster Jam though, you see the fans, you're sitting inside the cab, you're
Yep.
doing your freestyle, you're watching how they're interacting and stuff like
Yep.
that. How is that now for you, seeing people that are there when you're driving around the track compared to being
Yeah.
like shot out like a rocket?
Oh my gosh. Well, because yeah, with drag racing, it was pretty much, I mean, when you got strapped in, you maybe saw the stands. So yeah, your sight is practically none to seeing who's out there. And it really is so much more hyper focused on just driving, because that's truly all your sights allow. And so then getting to go to my very first Monster Jam event, I remember looking up and looking around, and I wanted to throw up. I was so nervous. But no, then that was the very first day. I was so nervous. But it is so exciting because quickly it translated to just feeling that energy, because then the second you go out there and they're cheering for you and you see them, and especially being in Megalodon, when I see all the kids doing their shark attack, I'm not kidding. Like, I say it every time I'm asked about it. I get so pumped up. You feel that energy and it's contagious. And that is something that, yeah, is unlike anything else. Yeah, didn't have that at drag racing.
Yeah, the feeling, the adrenaline. A lot of drivers have told me the most butterfly feeling is entering an arena with no one there. It's quiet and you're
Yeah.
just walking, knowing to yourself that within a few hours there's gonna be people there. 17,000 plus is gonna,
Mhm.
well, it's not 17, like 15,000 plus people in some arenas are gonna sit there to watch you perform in a truck that they wish be in that seat also. I
Right.
mean,
Is
you know, it-
mind blowing. It is. Yeah, no, I am so insanely grateful for this opportunity. I really, really am. It's been such a ride, and I am hoping it lasts a long time, because I really do see, a lasting love for this for myself, and I just hope the opportunity gets to continue.
awesome. Well, is there any social media people can follow that?
Yes, please. Across pretty much all boards, you can find me at Ashley, Ashley, Racer Girl, RACE. Oh gosh, I can't say it. RACER Girl, GIRL. Yeah, and please follow along. Yeah, it's been an exciting journey, and
I think
I
it would be
really,
awesome with a vlog. If you did a YouTube vlog, I
you
think it'd be
know,
awesome.
you're so sweet for saying that, because I actually have been kind of planning something. So I might be. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see if it works
I
out.
think your stories and how the day in the life of Ashley, it'd be a pretty good TikTok video. It's just saying what did you do before, in the
Oh
morning,
my
and
gosh.
you
It's
know,
it's entertaining, to say the least. I do know that. There's
but
always something.
all right. Well, like I said, that was a social media group right there for you. Go follow her. Once again, fans, thank you so much for being on. We're a little bit 15 minutes over, but that's the way our podcast is.
I like
Um,
it. I'm
we normally tell
unconventional.
people, I normally tell people 45 minutes will last an hour. I normally tell people an hour lasts an hour and a half, but
Yeah.
it's okay. This is good entertainment for those people that are traveling all over the United States, going to see a Monster Jam event or a Monster Truck show, maybe an NHRA event. We have a lot of people and stuff like that, but there's a lot more questions I would love to ask you. Your time in Australia, a lot of people don't get a chance to get that experience also. So, there's probably a lot more. Maybe we could do a review about how your season is, maybe upcoming season, to see how you're going to be, getting ready, and maybe one episode about when they put you in the stadium tour. That could be anything possible. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
that talk about dreams coming true. That's what we're shooting for. So we'll see.
awesome. Well, once again, fans, go to our spreadshop.com, buy some merchandise, help the podcast out. It really helps us out and everything like that. Thank you for everyone that has. Oh, there, I almost cut off my own screen. Almost ended the show quickly. Help. Thank you for supporting this podcast. Once again, guys, next week's gonna be Thomas Borders, the monkey around, the Mistress, all the cool throttle, full throttle monster truck tour people. We're gonna have them on next week. Once again, me and Ashely, two different teams, but we're gonna be the same venue. There in Colorado. I can't spring. Colorado Springs, Colorado Springs, Colorado for Monster Jam for 4 shows. Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday. And like I said, next week will be my first event in behind the wheel of a monster truck, and it'll be in Edith, Oklahoma. So it'll be kind of exciting, and you know what? I'm just gonna have fun and enjoy my time. I finally reached that pinnacle point of now climbing that second mountain. So we're gonna go from there.
I didn't even okay when you said that. I didn't. This is your debut event coming up.
Yeah. It's my first event.
Oh, this is so exciting! Oh my gosh. Well, okay. I feel like everyone wish him good luck. Yes, I'm so excited to see. Yep, you're gonna have a blast. Get ready. I mean, you're ready for it.
I'm excited about it, and like the brothers trust me. So if the brothers didn't, they wouldn't put me behind the wheel of the truck. So
Yeah.
they're the ones that are pushing me to do it. I actually, to be honest with you, I was the one that kind of backtracked, saying I don't think I'm ready to go. And Tim and Mark they said, "No, do it. Go and have some fun and do it." And I was like, "Holy cow! All right, if the brothers trust me, I'll do that too, And thank my mom and dad also. My mom is the one always said, "It's funny how your gold is chasing these funny looking tires." And I was like, "I know, Mom." And well, I thank my mom and dad for that. And my dad always blames himself on bringing me to a monster truck show back in the 90s. Heck, I was a baby when they brought me to the first event, and I didn't even know about it. So once again, yep, that's gonna be my opportunity. And then I'm next week going back to my alma mater school, Rosedale Technical Institute in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Going to do a display there for them, and then going to a local dealership where I grew up in St. Clairsville, Ohio. To cross the river from Wheeling, West Virginia. I'm a West Virginia boy, so doing a car crash there for the dealership. So gonna be some cool stuff in the next couple weeks. Hopefully, continue on to do stuff. And but like I said, as of right now, this is the last weekend for me in this group. But I always never say never. Always say hello. So
exactly. That's
but
it.
yeah. But thank you for being on. Thank you so much for being our first group to interview. When I say group, Brad's supposed to be here, but he's a little under the weather. So hope he feels better.
Yes, feel better.
But like I said, guys, this episode, you can watch it on YouTube and Facebook. Be on the lookout. It will be also on iTunes and Spotify. Once again, fans, thank you for the 5-star likes and reviews on iTunes too. It keeps our product going, and we're gonna try to reach that goal so we could be on Westwood One, and then or maybe some type of motorsports podcast group. But if anyone has ideas on motorsports podcast channels, let us know. Maybe we could try to push that in there and go from there. But once again, Ashely, thank you once again for being on, and I will see you this weekend.
See you in a few days.
Oh yeah, right. You're gonna be in the air, and I'm gonna be driving, and
I know.
seeing all that stuff.
It's going to be good. Well, we're going to make it a fun one since it's our last weekend together right now. But like you said, never say never. So
right on. Well, like I said, thank you for all the people that help us out, all the sponsors throughout the show. Go take a look at all their products and also what they have helped us out in. Once again, for me, this is Brad. That's Brad Shaw. I'm Danny Chichagosh. That's Ashely Sanford. Once again, like Brad said, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. Peace.